Okay, so in this video we're going to read data into our program from an existing data file. So we're moving in the opposite direction than we were going in the previous video. So basically I have the same data file that I created in the last video, and it's just a basic text file with hello and goodbye on separate lines here. So let's take a look at the code. So again, I asked you to get in the habit of using this construct, the with construct, because that is going to open the file, in this case for input, for reading, and it will close the file when it's done. Okay, so we don't even have to think about closing. So anyway, we're going to call the open function. Again, got to get the file name perfectly correct. Okay, it's called myfirstfile.txt. Don't want to have a typo in there, then it's not going to work. And in this case, I'm opening the file in read mode, so we're reading the data back in from the file, as opposed to creating a file and writing data to that file. So again, I can choose whatever name I want for this, but I'm choosing file for my file object. It makes sense. So there are multiple ways to read. Once you have the file open, like we have here, there are multiple ways to read the data. This one is really easy. You can just grab all the data in one fell swoop. Okay, so if I say file.read, that's going to put the whole data file into the contents variable, and then I'll print the contents. Okay, and there they are. So that will just get everything in one shot, which is nice and convenient. There are other ways of doing it, more nuanced ways of doing it, which I think will be useful for us. You know, just coming off of our lists unit, we'll have data in lists, and so it'll be helpful to read data from a file back into a list. So we'll look at that a little later in this video, but let's take a look at another technique. So that was like one shot. We'll say all in one shot. Okay, and so I have another technique I'm going to throw in here. Okay, so I'm just going to put some vertical space in there with some new lines. So in this one, we can open the file and read the data line by line, one line at a time. And so no, the opening of the file is the same, opening it in read mode, of course. But here we're using a loop. Now there are only 2 lines of data in the file, so you know the effect isn't all that spectacular. But still, it'll loop through the lines of data one line at a time, and then take the data in one line at a time, and we'll print the line of data as it comes in. So we're using a for loop, and look at this nice concise syntax. For line in file, we're going to print the line. Can't get any simpler than that. So let's run that. You know, the effect is going to be the same. Oh, this is interesting. Okay, why is there vertical space between these where there wasn't in the first one that we did? Okay. Basically, I have a new line. Do you remember in the last video, I at the very end of the last video, I hard-coded \n right before the goodbyes. I had to put, manually add the new line for the goodbye myself, which is fine, but print also gives you a line feed. So in addition to that new line, I have an automatic line feed that I got with the print function. So that's why I'm getting the extra line feed in there. I could probably do this. We've seen this before where you take control and say the end is actually the null string as opposed to a line feed, and that should work. Okay, just take control of that situation. Okay, so then I have a third way, and this is to read the contents of the input file into your program into a list. Now I like this because I see a lot of potential for us in the future and the types of programs that we do in this class. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to open the file for read as usual, and then it's this method, read lines. Read lines is going to get each line in the file and put each line as an item in the list. And I'm creating a new list. I'm calling it LST contents. I put LST so we know it's a list. You can call it anything you want. I just put LST there so we know, oh, that's the list. Okay. So read lines is going to read the lines in, and each line is an item in this list, LST contents. And then we're home free. Then we're like where we were 2 weeks ago, looping through a list and printing the contents. Well, here, you can print the contents all in one shot. You know what that's going to look like. Hang on, I'm going to get this out of here. Okay. You know what it looks like when you print a list. It looks like this, okay? Or if you want to print them out nicely, we can loop through the list, just like we were doing a couple of weeks ago, looping through the smoothies and the calories and all that. So I can just loop through with a for loop and loop through the list like that. And there it is. Once again, you have that same issue with the line feed, and if you don't want it, you have to take control here. Okay. All right, so that is reading data from a file. You have a lot of options there.